Guys, it's Potvin again. We're going to start going over topic 3, the systems. If this was in a normal class, if we were in the classroom, this is where we would be starting our t-shirt projects. You would be doing a project on an individual system, drawing a t-shirt, and then researching a disease. We're likely still going to do something on the disease side. I haven't figured it out just yet, but I have already gotten rid of the assignment for the t-shirt and have replaced it with something called the digestive tail. Take a look on D2L, take a look at one of my other videos. I've already posted it up there. Fun assignment. So you're going to get a lot of help, hopefully, with the digestive tail from this PowerPoint, as well as some other resources I'm going to be throwing onto D2L. I'll mention them at the end of this unit. So let's start. Okay, first off, review. This is where we'd be having you guys put your hands up and doing a quick little review. Probably going to throw something in the discussion forum about this. But the first thing, what was tissue? Okay, and as we remember, tissue is a bunch of similar cells that work together to create tissue. Then we had what is an organ. When we get a bunch of similar tissue together, they form together to make your organ. Some of the organs we're going to talk about are like your heart, your liver, those types of things. And then finally, what is an organ system? It's a bunch of organs that work together to create that system, and the system helps sustain our life. Take all of those systems together and we get us. Okay, that's where we come from. All right, so we're going to start with the digestive system. Whenever we think about digestive system, I know I always start thinking about eating. Okay, the rumbling of your stomach, laying in bed and your stomach's gurgling, or with me, it's always before you go to the dentist, you're sitting on the dentist chair. Hygienist is working on your teeth, and then your stomach starts growling. So you start pulling down on your stomach and trying to not be so embarrassed. That's what I think of when I think digestive system. Okay, but digestive system is actually where we get our energy. Okay, the energy that helps sustain us. Okay, and energy, we get our energy from food, and we get it in 3 main sources. And I'm sure you've heard these things before. So here they are. First is carbs, carbohydrates, sugars, and starches. Lots of diets. There's diets that say limit the carbs, regulate your carbs. It's one of the big ways where we get our energy. Next is protein, and this is when we're talking about fish and meat. And if you choose not to eat meat and fish, you get it from other ways. You can get it from milk, nuts, those types of things. And finally, lipids or fats. Typically, when you think of fat, we think bad. Okay, fat, stay away from bad. It's going to go right to your belly like it has with me. There are fats that are good fats. There are fats that are bad fats. Regardless, the fats do help get us our energy. Okay. In order to get this energy, our body needs to break all of these nutrients down. We break down these sources of energy into smaller usable parts, and that's where our digestive system comes in. Now, there's 2 types of digestion. Okay, and we've talked about, well, we all know what the 2 types are, but maybe we don't think of them as actual types of digestion. The first one's mechanical digestion, and that's where digestion first starts. Okay, it's actually the physical breaking down or tearing down of the food, and obviously that's going to start happening in our mouth. Okay, our teeth are going to start chomping down on that food. Our tongue's going to start pushing it around, sloshing it around. But it's not just in the mouth where it happens. It happens throughout the system as we are digesting our food. The other way is chemical digestion. And chemical digestion is the breakdown of the food particles or the larger particles by enzymes or chemicals. Okay, this also takes place in the mouth, in the stomach, small intestine. Test questions, awesome test question would be, where does mechanical digestion occur versus where does chemical digestion occurs, or where does both of them occur? Be awesome for like a Venn diagram or something along those lines. Okay, though food doesn't travel through the pancreas, it does produce important enzymes, so that is also that's where the pancreas is still part of the digestive system. All right, enzymes. An enzyme is a substance created by the body to carry out chemical digestion. Those are what actually help with the digestion of our food. Okay, we actually have enzymes in our saliva. Okay, so those of you sitting in the splashes, oh, it's good that we're not there. Okay, but our saliva actually has an enzyme called salivary amylase, okay? And that actually converts large starch molecules into smaller sugar molecules, okay? We also have digestive enzymes in our stomach that help break down food even further, okay? As well as the small intestine. The small intestine has many enzymes that convert molecules into smaller usable energies like sugars, okay? Maybe some of you have heard of lactose found in milk. Well, the enzyme lactase, that actually helps break down the sugar, it breaks the milk down into sugars in your small intestine. Okay? Here's a beautiful picture of the digestive system, very similar to the one that's on the digestive tail assignment. It starts with the mouth, okay? Digestive system starts with a big long, it starts with the mouth, and it's essentially a big long tube. Goes through the esophagus, into the stomach down here, okay? On the side, we have the accompanying organs, the liver, the gallbladder, and then it moves down into the small intestine. The small intestine is the wiggly stuff inside here. Okay, we've got our liver, and we've got the large intestine that surrounds the small intestine. Okay, and then finally, the rectum and the anus. There is a little video right here, but as you guys have seen on one of the previous videos I did. If I play that video, you'll get the image, but you won't get the sound. So access this PowerPoint on D2L. Watch this video. It's a pretty good one, but I'll try to describe what's on there in this section here. Got some beautiful pictures of digestion going. Here's the foods path. This is where we're going to be talking about this is where you're going to be outlining your digestive path. Okay, obviously the first part is the mouth. Food starts in the mouth. Okay, this is where mechanical digestion starts. Okay, it's these things. Our teeth are what start the mechanical digestion, the grinding, the breaking down of the food. Okay, if you have smoothies and things like that, well, the blender helps break the food down a little bit easier, but not to the same extent as our teeth. Okay. Chemical digestion also occurs up here. We got salivary glands all inside our mouth, down here, all over the place. Okay, the salivary glands help break down carbohydrates, okay, through chemical digestion. This is an important little term here. I think you guys should keep note of it, maybe throw it onto your digestive tail, and it's something called the epiglottis. And the epiglottis is a small little flap that sort of at the back of your throat, and it actually directs food into the esophagus, not the trachea or your windpipe, where air goes down. I'm sure some of you have choked every now here or there, just maybe swallowing something a little too large. When that happens, the epiglottis is flapping shut, not allowing air to get into your lungs, but at the same time, it's preventing the food to get into your lungs. Okay? So you have to sort of release the food from the epiglottis, that little flap that directs food into the trachea. Esophagus is the next step, okay? So the esophagus is the next step where food goes down. And you can see on this picture down here, it looks like there's a sort of like a contraction or pushing movement on the side, okay? The esophagus connects the mouth and the stomach. This pushing movement is something called peristalsis, okay? And this is a wave-like movement that goes along the whole entire digestive system, and it squeezes the food down, okay? Think of squeezing toothpaste out of the toothpaste, this squeezing out toothpaste. You have to push on the bottom, and as you push, it comes out the tube. Same thing happens with peristalsis, or something very, very similar, okay? And this is involuntary muscle contractions that cause the food to go in one direction. This is the reason astronauts can eat in space. They don't have to rely on gravity pulling the food down. It's also the same reason why, don't try it, you can stand on your head and still swallow food. Then we get to our stomach or the tummy, okay? This is not where babies are. Chemical digestion of proteins occur here. And you can see the stomach is moving around. It's got some liquid and fluid in there. Those are gastric juices that are produced in the stomach. In the liquid, that's the liquid that actually chemically digests your food, okay? It contains things like hydrochloric acid. You typically think of hydrochloric acid, you think of something that can burn you, right? Like blood from those alien movies. But it also contains digestive enzymes, water, and mucus. Okay, the mucus that surrounds the stomach lining all the way around, that actually is what prevents the stomach from digesting itself. So that hydrochloric acid is very, very acidic. Okay, it's got a high pH level. If the stomach didn't have that mucus layer, it would obviously eat away at itself. Okay, oops, let's go back here for a second. You can see the stomach's also, it looks like it's having a little bit of a party here, swooshing around. Okay, the stomach also is constantly churning. That constant churning sloshes that food around. It pushes that move around. It also aids in some mechanical digestion. So the food also still gets broken up into smaller pieces and whatnot in the stomach. So mechanical digestion is still occurring there. Next, we get to the small intestine. This is a big one. This is really, really, really important. Okay. So the small intestine, or the smaller little intestinal, it's the smaller little intestines, but they're very, very long. They're about 7.5 meters long, and they're also very thin. So if you think of our classroom, if you were to stretch out our small intestines, we could probably go from one side of the room to the other. I used to joke that if someone was holding on to one side of the digestive system, the small intestines would probably go right outside the classroom. Okay, this is where chemical digestion is completed. This is like the last step of digestion. Digestion ends in the small intestines. Okay, and then the small intestines, the food particles through the chemical and mechanical digestion, they are really, really small now. Okay, so they're so small, they get absorbed through a substance called villi. And villi are tiny little finger-like projections that cover or surround the small intestine. And they are very, very thin. Okay, they're finger-like projections that surround the inner surface of the small intestine. And that's where nutrient absorption is occurring. So that mess that you have in the small intestines, it's all broken down. There's small little nutrients through it. Those small nutrients go through the villi into the finger-like projections. Okay, the function of the villi, the reason we have the small finger-like projections is to increase surface area. Okay, if we just had a small intestine that looked just like this, where it was just a small little tube, okay, the only area the digestion would be occurring, or the absorption would be occurring, would be around the perimeter. Okay, so there wouldn't be as much area for them to digest. Okay, when we have the finger-like projections that are going throughout the small intestine, absorption is occurring in all of the area that surrounds it, on all sides of the finger. Okay, so that is the very, very important function of the villi. Okay, more surface area obviously means more nutrient absorption. So we're using our food, or the nutrients in our food, a lot better than we would if we didn't have it. Okay, each villi is covered with an epithelial tissue. And if you remember from a few videos back, we were talking about epithelial tissue, how it's that thin, thin tissue. And that epithelial tissue absorbs the food molecules into the bloodstream. Okay, and here's an awesome picture. Okay, so the villi are split into tiny little microvilli, so even smaller ones to increase even more surface area. But if you take a look at the picture on the side, you can see some red and some blue tiny little veins in the cross section of that villi. Okay, the epithelial tissue surrounds that villi, meaning it's really, really, really thin. And these little blood vessels, which are called capillaries, we're going to learn about them in 2 sections ahead from now. They are also very, very small and have very, very thin tissue. That allows the nutrient absorption to occur very easy. So the nutrients absorb through the thin, thin skin or epithelial tissue into the blood vessels and then get carried to the different parts of the body. The liver is an accessory organ. It produces bile, which is pumped into the small intestine. Okay, and this helps break up the large lipids, or the fats. So the bile is what helps take the fats, the good fats and the bad fats, and helps break them up. Okay, food does not enter the liver. Okay, so if we were to take that digestive tract and pull it out so it's one big long digestive tract, that liver would just sort of be hanging off on the side. Okay, just dangling there, providing the bile and whatnot into the digestive system. Finally, we got the large intestine. It's kind of funny to say, but by this point, digestion is finished. The large intestine, okay, it's not as long as the small intestine. Okay, the small intestine, we're about 7.5 meters. This is about 1.5 meters long. It's also very thick. Okay, digestion's done by this point. Okay, we're just getting a watery mess. Okay, so in the large intestine, all of the water from our food that we've been eating and whatnot, as well as the vitamins and minerals, this is where that gets absorbed into our bodies. Okay, so the nutrients by this point should be gone. All that's left is water, minerals, and vitamins. Okay, any material that does not get absorbed gets formed or gets are formed into feces. Okay, this is also another one of the reasons where if you're sick, food is going through you pretty quickly. What ends up by happening when you're sick and the food's going through you really quickly? You get diarrhea. No one likes it. We've all had it. No one likes it. When we get diarrhea, one of the risks are anyone? Let's think about it. One of the risks is dehydration. That's why the doctors will prescribe or tell you, make sure when you're sick, you have diarrhea, you're drinking a lot of water, because that water is not getting absorbed into your body in the large intestine. It's going right through, and you're not having enough time to absorb that water. So you want to drink more to keep yourselves hydrated. Also why with little babies, when they get really sick, take them to the doctor. You get really concerned about diarrhea. Baby has diarrhea, they could run the risk of being dehydrated. So they'll prescribe things like Pedialyte or drinks that have a lot of electrolytes to keep your child hydrated. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, so again, like it says here, anything that doesn't get absorbed, so everything that's left over, the drying out process, that gets stored in the rectum and is then excreted. And that's it. Once it gets excreted, it stays in the rectum until you can only keep, so much till that urge comes. You go to the washroom, find that toilet, run in there quickly, and it exits through the anus into the toilet, and digestion is done. So I hope you got a little bit out of this. Digestion is a fun topic. I did mention that there are going to be, look how big I am. There are going to be some other videos that you can access. I'll try to put links of them onto D2L. One thing is Bill Nye. Bill Nye has an awesome digestion video. Don't have to worry about the test. Maybe I'll put some questions on the discussion forum for the Bill Nye video, but I'll try to put a link for that onto D2L as well. Anyone that has Netflix, I believe it's episode 2 of season 1 of The Magic School Bus. It is awesome. Okay, if we had a Flex, I'd break my Flex rules and I'd go and I'd try to have us watch The Magic School Bus. It's a cartoon show that I watched when I didn't watch it. I'm really old, but I probably would have watched it if it was around when I was a kid. Goes through the digestive system extremely well. Also throw a few other links on there. If you have any questions, please email me. Let's work on that digestive tail. As far as the digestive tail goes, take a picture of whatever you've drawn, send me an email or scan it and share it with me. I don't care. You guys are going to get creative on this. We're going to have a good time. All right. I hope everything's going all right with you guys. The next video is going to be on the respiratory system, if I remember. And from there, we'll go. We'll keep on going. I miss you guys. I wish I was back in the classroom with you. Be a lot more fun than sitting in front of a computer recording myself. Talk to you later.